Hey tubers, today we're painting some corner trim. We've already primed it, but I'm just going to show you how we go about painting it with a brush. So let's get into our demo. So as I mentioned, this is the angle trim product. You can see that we use it to finish off beadboard or paneling or what have you. Put it on the corners. So we primed it, so we put the primer on this side and of course the outside to seal all the surfaces. But today we're just going to put one coat of finish on before we nail it up. So I'll just show you how I go about brushing it on to get the best coverage possible. So before we go right ahead and start painting, I just want to take a sanding sponge and we're going to give it a light buff just to take off the fibers that have been raised after we applied the primer. So you just go ahead and knock that off real quick. Just go all over it very lightly on the edges, on the outside edges. That should be fine. So we'll come back once it. So now we're ready to actually paint. We won't be painting the inside here, but we've sealed it off as I mentioned. We're going to be painting this surface and this surface and then the two wider surfaces. So we have a drop sheet down and it has a plastic that seals the paint from going through onto our bench or whatever surface we choose to paint on. So we just want to load up our brush. I'm just using a 2.5 inch slash brush. Get a good amount of paint on your brush, bottom third or no more than halfway up. And then we just want to get that on there, the bulk of the paint on there. And then to start with, we'll paint it out toward the end of the piece. Like that. It doesn't matter if we roll over a bit on the edges on these profiles because, as I say, this is a first coat and it will adhere where the primer is anyway. So that's our first load. Move it along. Then we want to take our brush. We want to get the bulk of the paint on that white surface, paint it back into our wet edge. And we can do our narrow profiles. And smooth that paint out. And what we'll do is we'll smooth all the way through. And then when we do this next section, we can do 2 brush loads and smooth it all back into this piece and just work our way down. So I'll come back when it's done. So now you can see how we've painted our piece all the way along, and the good thing about using a brush is that we can even out the paint as we go, so we shouldn't have any rollovers or hangovers on our rounded edges, and we get nice solid coverage. And then once we get it nailed on and filled and caulked, we can do our final coat.